One of our greatest challenges that so many of us faced in the 80s was being with our friends who had HIV and AIDS. Everybody treated them differently. Either they wouldn't touch them, they wouldn't come into the room, or they felt sorry for them, or they pitied them. The reality was people just wanted to be treated normal. So what we did, I don't even know if it was conscious or not, but we treated our friends as if there was nothing wrong. Yes, they had an IV pole. Yes, they had Kaposi sarcoma and scars on their face. But we never talked about that. We went to the movies, we went to dinner. My friend Patrick was dying to come to Fire Island. And his challenge was he was on 24-hour IV at that time. So we took him to Fire Island. We packed up his pole and shoved it in a car and drove him out to the beach. And I remember it so well. I lived in a house called Sanctuary in Cherry Grove, and we had a hot tub. And he was dying to go into the hot tub, but felt he couldn't because of his IV pole. So we said, you know, that's ridiculous. We'll all go in the hot tub. And so we took his pole and we set it up outside of the hot tub. We got a special table to make sure, and we helped him in, and we just sat there for an hour in the hot tub and with his IV pole getting his medicine. We certainly made sure his arm was out of the water, but it was just one of those beautiful moments I remember with Patrick. As time went on, through the rest of the 80s and the early 90s, more and more and more and more of us became sick. Yes, when the emergencies were there, when we had to take care of medical issues, we were certainly there. But on a day-to-day, we were the same vicious queens to each other that we were 10 years ago. That was important. Normalcy. I lived in a house called Strawberry Hill, and over time, 7 members of the household died. So we were dealing with a lot of anger, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and a lot of love. You know, yes, people had HIV, yes, people had AIDS, but we were the same, like I said, vicious queens that we always were. I remember in particular, half of the house had HIV, half of us didn't, and another friend was just diagnosed with HIV. It was a new diagnosis for him. So Friday night came along and we didn't know, you know, we kind of didn't know what to expect. So we decided just to be our normal selves and treat him like we would normally. And when we got dinner ready, we had dinner. I remember we had 5 place settings, 4 plates, and we made Sean eat off of a paper plate because he was infected. It was so mean, and we laughed so hard. You know, I can remember his face. It was, he had such an Irish face, and he just laughed funny. Whenever he laughed, his head kind of turned. So at first he was appalled, and then of course he just screamed, and I can just remember his whole head shaking and laughing, and we all laughed and screamed, but we still made him eat off the paper plate. Humor is very healing in all situations. And I think, again, it was about treating people like you always treat people. Let's not be different. Let's just be real and love each other.